All right, well, Hegan Kogan in a school, getting ready to talk about school.
Yeah.
So let's just get to it. Here we go. I'm going to read it. We'll stop and then we'll.
Well, I mean, first, we should look at the source first.
Oh, you want to go there, huh?
I mean, we really should.
Right, okay.
You know, Brown v. So it's some sort of competition.
Right, not versing, because that's not a word.
Nope.
Right.
Board of Education of Topeka. Topeka is located in Kansas. It's 1954. So we are in the middle of a couple of things. We're in the middle of the Cold War.
Yep.
We're in the middle of the Civil Rights Movement.
Yep.
We're about 9 years removed from World War II. So kind of putting things into perspective here.
All right, so since you don't want to read it just yet, I see the word segregation coming up a couple of times. Of course, segregation, you know, you're going back to the Reconstruction era, where you're talking about the legal separation of races, and where do we know that segregation is taking place? Well, since we're just coming out of World War II, we know it was taking place in the military. We know it was taking place pretty much everywhere, you know, professional sports, public places. By now you have public transportation, so buses, restaurants, movie theaters, the list can
Remember
go
the
on
1890s Supreme Court case, Plessy versus Ferguson, upholding the constitutionality
So since you're
of
bringing
Jim
it up,
Crow laws.
yeah, so since you are bringing it up,
I
yeah,
mean, this-
there we go.
Separate but equal
Separate.
was their phrasing.
Right. And you know what? It's kind of interesting too, because when you're looking at this political cartoon, you know that they're trying to mock it, and and if you didn't know anything, like if you never saw this picture, you'd be like, this is ridiculous. This can't be. And in fact,
It was, yeah.
It
You know,
absolutely
because
was.
they're separate. You know, nice, cold, refrigerated water, room temperature water. They're equal because they are both giving you water.
And not only that, you bring this up to anybody, middle school kids. It's like, okay, when you're looking at the comparison here, you know, it's like, well, what does this look like? Well, you know, it's porcelain. It's pretty unkempt. It looked like a urinal or a toilet to
Yeah.
many. So, with all that in mind, let's now take a look at this document. We, the Supreme Court, come then to the question presented. Does segregation of children in public schools solely on the basis of race, even though the physical facilities and other tangible real factors may be equal, deprive the children of the minority group of equal educational opportunities? We believe that it does. Should we stop there?
We should.
Okay.
You know, because this is almost bringing up what we just said. Physical facilities are equal because they are providing an education.
All right, well,
You know,
let's take a look at
Yeah.
the facilities.
You know, this was a white school.
Looks really nice.
You know what these kids are doing?
They're sitting, they're learning.
They're learning.
Tapping, yep.
They're learning.
Look at the decorated boards and everything. You know, they're on the edge of their seats.
I would imagine there's probably heating going on.
Of course.
You know, forced hot air, baseboard heating.
I would imagine that this is one of these old school desks where you can open up the top and put
All
everything
your supplies
in there.
are in there.
All your supplies or your baseball
Your
cards
lunch
and
bag,
stuff.
yeah.
Oh, it is so nice. All right, let's see how they're getting educated on the other side of town.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, I mean, we've chosen these pictures. Is it exactly the same time? No. However, you know, here you had education taking place.
There's
on the other side of
nothing equal about the facilities themselves.
town. Not at
However,
all.
education is taking place. And in the eyes of the Supreme Court in Plessy Ferguson, that was acceptable.
Now, can you learn here? Yeah. Going to be really hard. Can you learn here? Yeah. I mean, there's not a lot of obstacles in your way.
I would
that are
imagine
preventing
the
you
school
from that.
has a bathroom with running water.
Sure.
Has a cafeteria that's going to cook warm meals for the children. Has a nurse in case the kids get sick.
Absolutely.
You know, probably has a gym
Oh,
and
yeah.
a playground and all the things that you think of a typical school having today. This one, not so much.
I mean, when you look at it, it doesn't look like the structure itself was designed with education in mind.
Yeah, even I
Whereas
mean,
this
the picture here is even a little bit hard to tell, but I see a much smaller child here than here.
Yeah.
That there's probably children of different grades or different educational levels.
Throw them all
Throw
in
it all
there,
in.
and we'll figure it out. And then of course, you have the furnace in the middle. This could have been the basement of a church, maybe in a local area. I mean, but again, you know,
Or the
no
remnants
desks.
of a freedman school built in the 1860s.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Who knows?
exactly. You know, again, nothing spells out comfort here. You know, then you go back to the other things that might be missing. Is there a gym for them to? No. You know, a place for them to eat lunch. No. You know, there's a lot of things that you know are probably missing from these children's.
And if we go back to
educational
the
program.
actual ruling for a second,
Yeah.
you know, Does this deprive them of equal educational opportunities? The question presented before the Supreme Court in Brown v. Board of Education is equal protection under the law. One of those Civil War amendments, the 14th Amendment. Yeah, the 14th Amendment gave citizenship to anybody born in the United States, but there's also that clause, the Equal Protection Clause. Equal protection under the law.
Now, since you're bringing up the 14th Amendment, it's mentioned right here, so let's continue. We, the Supreme Court, conclude that in the field of public education, the doctrine of separate but equal has no place. Separate educational facilities are inherently by nature unequal. Therefore, we hold that the plaintiffs, the Brown family, and others similarly situated for whom the actions have been brought, or by reason of the segregation complained of, deprive of the equal protection of the laws guaranteed by the 14th Amendment. This disposition, or ruling, makes unnecessary any discussion whether such segregation also violates the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment.
I'm sorry, but like I actually get chills reading that, you know, to think like the men who wrote this decision, the great Thurgood Marshall was the actual, great Thurgood Marshall was the lawyer who was arguing for the Brown family that this is unconstitutional, winds up becoming the first African-American Supreme Court justice. Just separate but equal has no place. It strikes down Plessy versus Ferguson, declares segregation of schools unconstitutional.
Now, what gets the ball rolling, I guess you could say, when it comes to challenging this, is that this little girl has to now go, when it came to commuting to school, she had to walk to an area where there was a bus. She had to, of course, you can see right here, you have this little girl, she was in 3rd grade, I believe, at the time, and it was Linda Brown. She would have to walk in this pretty much dangerous area just to get to a bus that was going to take her to an African-American school on the other side of town.
When there was a white school like 3 blocks away from her house.
Exactly.
Yep.
And I mean, and you get the idea, you know, a 3rd grader walking near railroad tracks, and God knows what else is going on here. That's just ridiculous. That's one of the things that brings this suit to the Supreme Court.
Separate but equal has no place. And this is the domino.
Yeah.
The pushing of the first domino. Segregation of schools is now unconstitutional. The rest of society will slowly start to...
Keyword, slowly.
Right, very slowly.
This wasn't...
to be
this wasn't,
desegregated.
Right,
Sorry,
this wasn't one of
desegregated.
these things. This wasn't one of these things where, you know, hey, the very next day...
Right, because let's think.
You know,
1954, the desegregation of schools... Martin Luther King's "I Have a Dream" speech, you know, is a decade later.
Right.
So obviously things weren't
it wasn't happening quickly.
Everybody's
very, very slow to change. Unfortunately, especially when it comes to something like this. Do we need anything else here? You know, of course, we got the headline here: Gorben's segregation in public schools. We talked about the schools, the cartoon.
Let's go.
Good. Thanks for watching.